Welcome, heathens and witches, to the Horn
and Cauldron
podcast. Pub chat edition. Hold on.
Right
here.
There
Boom.
we go. Boom.
Champagne.
Yeah.
Regular champagne. No, it's quite fancy champagne.
Yeah,
actually.
This is
delicious.
This is
Which one is this?
Moscato Frizzante.
Yeah.
From
Corbel.
Corbel.
Yeah.
And no, we are not sponsored. We just have the wine club with them.
Yeah, we're just part of their champagne club and love their stuff and live nearby. So
yeah, this one is like
Shout
one of my
out.
favorites because it's very like mead tasting.
It's very honey. Yeah, very appley. Very, very good. So pour yourself up. I'm John Norcrow. This is Julie Norcrow. I am terrible at intros. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff. We're just going to get right into it. So pour yourself a pint and let's talk about this. Probably not too long. Definitely going to walk right up to the door of potentially upsetting some people. Conversational topic that Jonathan wanted to talk about. So this is how we're going to handle this. I'm going to start this off with a lot of these are the rules of what we're talking about here. Sort of situations, right? So today we are talking about what I have labeled dark religious parasitism.
Yes.
All right. So to that extent, I am not specifically picking on any particular group of people. However, you know the rules of this podcast. Everybody is treated fairly. Everybody should be good. If you're incapable of being good and nice, fuck off. And if you're going to be a cunt, fuck off. Right?
Yep.
These are pretty basic rules to the podcast.
Unless you're so upset that you're going to leave us comments.
Oh my God.
In which case,
listen,
leave us the comments. Give me the engagement.
Tell me how much you hate me.
Yeah.
And then when I respond to that, do it again.
Yeah.
Just keep,
you know that
keep
Alice Cooper song, Feed
Send
My
it around.
Frankenstein? Do that. Except the Frankenstein is the algorithm.
Is me?
Which
But
if
the
you work in
Frankenstein is
social
me.
media, you're welcome for that joke.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
It's fair.
So one person
It
out
is.
there just like spit out.
You just
spit out their drink.
spit out their beer.
They're
yeah.
like, ah.
So dark religious parasitism. What are we talking about? So the other day, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this conversation that had come up between me and one of my friends. We have been texting back and forth, and we kind of came upon this like realization. We kind of were both thinking the same thing, right? And so I brought it up to Julie, and I was like, "Oh, like we got this idea," and it's like religious parasitism, blah 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 blah. And we're kind of having this conversation, and I decided to write down, like, take all of what we had been talking about and write down a sort of definition of what I was talking about, with the idea of like maybe we would turn this into a podcast episode later.
Puppy crossing over here.
Yeah, it's fine. And so that's basically what we're doing here. I know, I see you. Look at this. Boop. Keep doing good. So let me grab my cell phone.
So first of all, tell us, what is dark religious parasitism?
Okay, I'm gonna read my definition. Right?
Oh.
I did like a Merriam-Webster. It's like a
Oh,
paragraph.
that's like a whole. It's cute that you think that's a paragraph.
It's like one paragraph.
That's like one page screenshotted.
No, it's like 3 sentences.
It's literally
They're long sentences.
Charles Dickens over here.
You don't know. My middle name is Charles, so maybe.
I'm still telling you that's a.
It's not that long. Don't listen to her.
Babies.
Don't mind. Don't mind. Okay, dark religious parasitism. A definition. Okay. The noticeable shift in an organized religion from its patrons' doctrines to one of hate, utilizing misinformation and manipulation of teachings, selective following, focusing solely on the out-of-context misinterpretation of select passages to reinforce hateful rhetoric, and or the complete abandonment of key tenets if or when they oppose the new regime's focus of hate. These are additionally supported by otherness speech meant to segregate those who disagree or question the new regime, opportunistic practice where one applies the tenets of their faith to only a select group or at socially opportune times to hide or cover up hateful practices behind goodness, coded language to communicate and spread in-group think, and outright lying publicly and to the self in order to not address or internalize the new regime of hate. The contagious spread of these parasitic creatures follow a spiraling path in both individual and group infections, starting with small changes and spreading to spread ever greater hate. These creatures, these parasites, these creatures feed off of not only the worship and faith energy of the newly infected followers, but also off of the spreading destruction of the original deities, tenets, and teachings, like an insect bite that liquefies the insides of its victim in order to make it easier to consume them. So I am specifically talking about the parasite itself.
So give it to me.
Want a Reader's Digest of that?
Give me a
of that
TLDR
absolute
here.
Merriam-Webster level definition.
That is more like a Encyclopedia Britannica.
I will take that compliment. I don't give a shit. Yeah. Okay, so it would be a sort of parasitic pseudo-deity that infects a particular portion of an already established practice, specifically in order to spread hate and like disarray in order to feed off of it. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm using the word parasitism, because it takes something that's already there and it converts it into something twisted and dark. Hate is an overarching term. It doesn't have to be like fuck you and whatever your people representation, culture, whatever the particular thing is. It doesn't have to be that direct as hate. It can be something as small as manipulation of the tenets of a faith in order to take a faith that treats towards equanimity into one that treats towards classism. Right? Yeah. But what makes it parasitic, what makes it a successful parasite, is that it doesn't just go like, hey, maybe instead of being we should all be cool about stuff, we should all hate these people. It's not that simple, right? My idea behind this is that it is like, well, we're all cool, but like those people are bad because they're making it uncool for us. But like they're not nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Especially if it has something to do, like, specifically with, like, a thing that your faith particularly had interest in, right? So, again, we're not picking on anything, but this is, like, recent in-news conversations about the, like, illegalization of homelessness, or the prosecutability of homelessness here in the United States, with regard to Supreme Court rulings and state laws being passed and such like that, right? So, like, if you're going to argue a pro-Christian doctrine, right? Christianity and the teachings of Jesus are one where you would help the homeless, the ill, and the infirmed, right? And so the idea of, like, well, we're gonna help everybody, but, like, the homeless are causing problems, and so we're gonna say no to those guys. That's an example, right, of this dark religious parasitism.
Yeah.
So it is both like a thing that you can observe happening, which is the like dark religious parasitism, as well as, I believe, like a thing, like a creature, a demigod, whatever you want to call it, right, a spirit, whatever, that's sort of like moving in and manipulating the undercurrent of the original message, right, of that particular deity or group, right? Another example, again, we're not picking on Christians here, so like another example, a non-Christian example, would be like in the United States, there are several forms of Norse paganism and esotericism that are white supremacist in nature, which has literally nothing to do with the Norse gods. They were not supremacists like that. That has no historical base at all, right? But there are groups within the United States who have taken Norse symbols and practices and deities, right, and have begun to use them from the point of view of racial segregation and racial pride and racial superiority, right? And of course, like a lot of these things, we can see the like life, the sort of lifeline of this practice that exists today, right? Whereupon like Nazis in Germany during the time of World War II looked towards Norse paganism as part of the justification for the like whole white supremacy, racism, hate shit that they did, right? And so like these people are taking that and being like, well, I mean, these guys did it, so why can't we do it? Or fucking whatever nonsense these people are thinking about, right? So like this is another example. And I'm not saying that it's like these people aren't to blame for their hateful rhetoric. They should be blamed for their hateful rhetoric. If you're being hateful, like, fucking don't, dog. It requires exactly 0 energy not to be a dick. You know what I'm saying? It takes no energy to just, like, not involve yourself in some shit that doesn't involve you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
other people's lives.
Like other people's
I think
shit.
that you can also
So it's like, it's not like don't
blame
blame the people for them being pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Right? But if we were to try and explain this from, like a religious like vibes place, it feels like there's a parasite who's attached itself to these teachings, right? And is you know, it's like drinking the lifeblood of the teaching and pooing out hate.
Yeah. I think that you can also see examples of this in the like cult space.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like,
you can
really
see this in
easily.
like everything at all, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you seen, I mean, like the big, like all the cults that like started off like, we're trying to do our own thing and like New World Order stuff and everything's peace and whatever. And then they're like getting raided by the FBI because they got like a bunch of machine guns and cocaine or whatever, right? Or like this is like a free love sort of thing, and then it becomes like an oppressive sex cult. Or like, you know, anything like that, right? This isn't directly connected to like a particular
or like
deity.
transcendence, and then all of a sudden you're buying matching outfits and shoes, and you're all gonna you know, unalive during the next passing of the comet.
Does this person have good teachings? And it doesn't necessarily need to be like a deification situation. This is why I'm talking about it in the form of a parasite, right? Because like a parasite would attach to anything within that sort of faith space, that like belief space, whether organized, ancient, esoteric, modern, it does, you know, east, west, it doesn't matter, right? It can kind of happen anywhere.
Yeah.
As like I think of it as sort of like you know, it's that like if you go swimming in a river, you could get a leech.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, or you could get like whatever that like freshwater bacteria is.
It's
that, like,
kind of
gets you
like
bad.
a slightly larger scale idea of like an energy vampire, but it's more like a spiritual vampire. But it's still also an energy vampire because all of the belief and all of the intention, you know, we've talked a lot about like, you know, if you believe enough that's the thing, then that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the American Gods effect. So like it definitely has, you know, that part of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just less of a one-on-one thing, which most people think about energy vampires as like a one-on-one thing. But this is more of like a group collective sort of a thing.
Yeah,
as opposed to a singularly experience.
It doesn't necessarily have to start one-on-one either, right? But like the body of any particular practice, faith, or whatever, religion, whatever, right, can sort of be attacked by this parasite from a myriad of angles at differing times in differing localities, and then as the like hate of that parasitism spreads, you sort of get that like, think of it as like you know when you watch like a zombie movie and they're like the zombies attacked so fast we couldn't catch up, and then we show like a world map and there's like 3 or 4 orange spots and then they spread and then the circles link up and all of a sudden North America only has 3 safe zones or like, you know, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of a thing, right? Yeah. Where it's like it spreads sort of like the zombie virus does.
Yeah.
Right? And in fact, the idea of a zombie virus is almost a fantastical example of this dark parasitism, but that's biological parasitism.
Yeah.
Right? Whereupon it is consuming humans in order to cause itself to spread, and in the act of doing that, damaging unrepairably, except for that one time where it was repairable. That movie, it was good.
That was fun.
That was real good. Wow. But so like again, like it doesn't necessarily have to be something as big and organized as like Christian faith or like, you know, whatever, Judaism or Islamism or Buddhism. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be something as small as like a single organized like new wave practice, like these things that inevitably became these hate-filled cults.
Yeah.
Right? Or anything like that. And it's also, in my opinion, something that's like reasonably curable purely through like the re-education of those original doctrines with regard to where it has slipped. Again, I'm going to use specifically the example of like the hate on homelessness in the Christian nationalism TM sort of group think, right? Is it's just like, I mean, that like Jesus was real, help people. Why are you not helping people, my guy? That was like one of his big things, you know? And to the same extent, the like
and heal people.
Yeah, and the like selecting and choosing which passages to use from the Bible in opportune times, or misinterpreting passages to mean something grander than it originally intended to mean, or you know, was interpreted to mean.
Well, you're taking
or
the
smaller than it was originally interpreted to mean.
You're taking the words and twisting them to your agenda, as opposed to like taking the meaning behind it. Like, this stuff was written down literally thousands of years ago for the most part.
Totally.
And like, obviously they're gonna talk a little different.
Yeah.
Like, think about the difference between how Shakespeare talked, which was really remarkably similar to the way that standard people in that time frame talked, and think about how we talk now. Yeah. Like, well, there's a big difference. So you're definitely gonna like have misinterpretation, but there are a lot of people who suffer from this kind of a parasite, who are only and very specifically interpreting things in the way that furthers
their agenda.
What I'm going to say is the parasite's agenda. Not that these people don't deserve a function of blame, but it is...
Well, like, are you doing hate? Then don't do hate.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we're going to be like smack on the face. Right? It's a like, if we can sit down and have a conversation and you can understand that like the thing that you just said is like fucking absurd and hateful, and you can like come to terms with the fact that there was a mistake made or like a hate spread, and you choose to like ask forgiveness and apologize for what you said, then like we're homies. Immediately break bread. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like, if you're gonna double, triple, octuple down on this, then like, you're partially to blame. You've been given the opportunity to like come to terms with the fact that like that doesn't necessarily fit the bill, right? Or to say like, oh, well, like in this hand we're gonna be like good guys. You know, again, like the two biggest examples for me are racism in American Asatru and the like modern right now hate Christian nationalism group stuff, right? Whereupon, like, if you can talk to these people and they recognize that, like, the hate speech and the, like, racism and all the damage that's done has no true connection to Asatru or the teachings or stories or culture of the Norse pantheon, then, like, that's fine, right? Like, that's cool. Yeah. You were wrong. We all make mistakes. That's okay. I mean, I assume you didn't commit a crime because then jail. But like, whatever, dog, right? And then we can all like grow together and move together forwards. But like, again, right, there is a threshold whereupon like you are taking advantage of this parasitism in order to feed, whether it's your ego or your wallet, which is a very common thing to do in these. Look, again, like...
Well,
see, per my previous email, look at cults, these ones that are like, show up and put on these pajamas and give me all of your retirement.
I don't think that most of the people who are sort of falling victim to this parasitism are doing it necessarily for their ego or for their wallet.
Oh, most are not.
I think that for the most part, like the everyday person who has sort of fallen into this trap doesn't realize that they've fallen into this trap. Because it's been a slow thing for the parasite to grow to that point. Yeah, but I think that
it's the really, frog in the pot of water analogy.
A lot of things in the world suck right now.
Yes.
And people are angry about that, and they're upset about that. And the parasite allows them to focus that anger and that upsetty spaghetti at like very specific and focused targets that help to advance agendas of people who are doing it for their pocketbook or are doing it for the ego control,
totally.
Which then further advance the parasite.
Well, that's part of the utilization of other speech.
Yeah,
in order to isolate a group and specifically focus your ire on them. Well, all of our problems are clearly those people over there's fault, right? Because then you don't have to feel bad that like whatever your problem is occurring because that guy's to blame. We just have to stop that guy. Fuck that guy. Or whatever, right? It's like the displacement of blame in order to like relieve the pressure of truth, to be perfectly fair. But like to relieve that pressure internally. So again, like for the most part, this is a byproduct of its time. I think this is a thing that has always existed.
Oh, for sure.
And always will exist, right? Everybody's working for the weekend. Everybody has the potential to slip up and like catch this parasite, for lack of better words, right? It's real easy to fall down that rabbit hole of like, well, everything would be better if, you know, whatever, Brenda, no hate to Brenda's, but like Brenda wasn't causing all of my fucking problems. And Brenda probably doesn't even know who the fuck you are, dude. But you're going to blame Brenda because now I don't have to, it's not my fault. So I don't have to feel bad for doing a thing, right? And like everything sucks, but now I have somebody to blame, which makes you feel good when you can blame people for shit, right? And it's easier. And I mean, part of it is for sure that it's a path of ease.
And each time the parasite grows, it makes it easier to add just one more in.
Yeah, totally. You know, totally. Well, and if you hate Brenda,
today,
and then
it's those things tomorrow.
Yeah,
and more things I hate Brenda, the next day.
And then I'm telling you like, oh my god, like everything sucks, and you're like, everything sucks, and I'm like, I get vibes. Fuck Brenda. And you're like, yeah, you know what? That does make me feel good. I'm gonna say that too, right? Well, now I just got reinforced, right, by that belief. So I become a larger like acolyte of the parasite in order to spread it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's that like it's it's that like video game idea. Well, it's exactly not a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing scheme.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it kind of
That's exactly how the parasite would spread. That's why I think I used the word whirlpool or cone or pyramid or something to that extent. But that's like that sort of like shape is it's like, well, if I can convince another person that this new regime, this new understanding, this reinterpretation of scripture or doctrine or understanding is one supported through, by, or about hate, right? Focusing on some other people, other kin, other group, whatever, some otherness, right? Then oh, now I got her in on it. Well, I'm like, now I even know more for sure because like I just said a few words and I'm like, I'm an asshole. I don't know nothing about nothing. And like she's in on it. So clearly I must be onto something. So I'm going to tell other people about it. And yeah, some people are going to reject, but like, listen, they're not ready to hear the truth or fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're able to quickly lie yourself out of any sort of interaction with actual truth about this change. Right. And then bolster yourself. I mean, it's not so unlike addiction.
Yeah.
Insofar as, or a multi-level marketing scheme, insofar as any sort of a no, poo, sort of a response doesn't hit very hard, but every yes is like another, it's another hit. It's so good, or however you talk about drugs. I realize I just sounded like a mad square there, but like, you know what I'm talking about. Jesus. So like that, like it's this thing that my friend and I were talking about, how it feels sometimes like something has interrupted, taken over, like twisted the message. With specifically, we were talking about, again, like Christian nationalism and that kind of a thing. And there's so many talking points today out there. And again, it's not all of them. It's not all Christians. Hell, it's not even most fucking Christians.
And if you're listening to us, it's probably not you.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's most assuredly not you.
Yeah.
But if it is you, comment below. Tell me how much you hate me. It's totally okay. Yeah. It's not going to make me feel bad because I don't fucking care what other people think. That seems dumb. But like, whatever. No, it's like, it feels like the message, right? The sort of like OG teachings, as somebody who's like read and studied Christianity, right? It feels like there's something lost there. There's like an unalignment with those teachings, with like the dude who was washing the feet of the poor and the destitute and the like sick and all this. And like you read that story and you leave reading that story just being like, I don't know, maybe fuck people that aren't exactly like me. That's crazy town, right? Like, I am so not trying to pick on at all Christianity, right? I have done a ton of study into, used to be Catholic, all that business, right? No hate. But sometimes you can see where the organization has shifted away from that, like, original intention.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. It ain't even most of them, right? But it's a few. And it's a few who have found a way. And this is the same thing with cults. It's a few who have found a way to twist, manipulate, and like darken, right? Like this negative energy within the space. And it like... It's that like oh my God, what is that? There's a saying, it's like the greatest trick the devil ever played was making you think he went away or something to that extent.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Something like that.
I'm so bad at that one. And it's such a great quote too. So
that's not to say that we think that the devil is the parasite. And also, like,
oh my God, we are so not doing like a whole Christian thing here.
One of the things I want to mention here is a lot of this has to do, you know, a lot of these examples have to do with Christianity. It's because we live in the US.
Yeah.
The US is a largely Christian nation, so this is going to be much more apparent to us because
Christianity's one of the largest religions in
exactly.
This
so like we shouldn't be
not a Christian nation.
We shouldn't be a Christian nation.
We
period,
are not.
ever.
And if you think that we are, you are confused about what the whole fucking point of this thing was. The whole point of this thing is so we wouldn't be that, right? I understand like a bunch of other motherfuckers cheated off our test results or cheated off our test and they turned them in afterwards. And so like they're doing the same thing.
What I mean
like, that's
by
us. We
that
started
is,
that. What's up?
You know, it is one of the major religions.
Yes,
in
for
America.
sure.
And a lot of the things that happen in America are largely influenced by Christianity.
Yeah.
There is definitely a point where they certainly shouldn't be. I firmly believe in the separation of church and state as someone who is not a Christian and does not
100%.
and was not raised a Christian, but I digress. So it is not that we are trying to pick on anyone. It's just that this is the reality that we live in day in and day out.
Well,
so it's much more apparent to us if we lived in a different country where another religion was the primary religion for most people. It would look different. This happens everywhere.
Think of this as Occam's example. Right? You know how like Occam's razor is like the most obvious thing is probably the correct thing? This is Occam's example. The largest thing, the easiest thing to talk about is the best way to exemplify any particular subject. Right? If we were talking about soda, we wouldn't be talking about RC Cola. A superior cola, and I will die on this fucking hill. All right, but we wouldn't be talking about RC Cola. We'd be talking about Coke first and Pepsi second. Remember that, Pepsi. Coke first, Pepsi second. It's okay.
But if we were talking about
true.
Mountain Dews, we'd be talking about Baja Blast.
That's true. We would be talking about Baja Blast.
The superior dew.
Then Code Red, then regular Mountain Dew. Then that Purple Lightning shit, because that fucked. That lemonade one, that was fucking fire.
That orange one was pretty good,
That orange one was also pretty good. We're trying not to talk about soda here.
Didn't they have a pineapple one, too?
No, Pepsi had just pineapple Pepsi. You just
I did just have pineapple Pepsi. I really like that. It's a little bit like you dissolved a bunch of those pineapple
awful,
hard
dog.
candies.
I love pineapple, and it is heinous. But also, it's so sweet, and I have, like, truly no tolerance for sweetness anymore.
It is incredibly sweet.
I am rapidly riding away from the sweet train. 100%, dude. I just, like, even going so far as to say, like, some of that one brandy that we have is, like, a little too sweet because it's not as boozy as the other one that I, like, ran out of.
Yeah, and it's got vanilla, which is like a
sweetener
taste,
sort of a taste. Yeah.
I mean, I think that the pineapple
I just don't do sweet
needs to be served
much.
With ice. It needs to be watered down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like the
maybe
key
like a pineapple liqueur or like a pineapple
That would be so good. I love pineapple.
I don't know if pineapple vodka is a thing, but like I imagine
Oh my
it
god,
is.
I bet that's gross.
Oh, it's probably not that bad.
Nah, see, I want like
one
a
time
pineapple
in France,
brandy.
we went to a place and they had like every flavor of vodka humanly possible.
Yeah.
Right? Marshmallow vodka, fucking everything under the sun kind of green apple vodka, all this fucking nonsense.
See, I want like the
and it was
needs
pretty
to
good.
be paired
A lot of
with
those.
Like
we were just drinking from the bottle though, so
like
whatever.
a warm flavor, so it needs to be like a pineapple rum or like a pineapple brandy.
Yeah.
Like pineapple vodka is just
that pineapple
like,
Pepsi and brandy might pretty tremendously.
Good. Yeah. This really makes me want to get some pineapple Fanta.
Oh yeah, pineapple Fanta's not that bad.
Yeah.
Although again, Fanta's real sweet. That should.
But like, want a Fanta? Don't you wanna?
No. I don't.
You're welcome. If
For
you
that
know that commercial,
fucking Fanta commercial,
it'll be in your head. I love Fanta.
It's pretty good.
I feel like
technically low key an evil company, but like yeah.
Oh, are they? Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, we've talked about the origins of Fanta. We don't have time here for this. But look it up. It's a crazy story. Did you just knock everything over?
I just had an
this little puppy just avalanched everything. He was like, I want to be more comfortable on top of stuff. What a little mountain asshole.
Yeah, they like to lay like as high up as they can, and this is the
all of our
yeah.
dogs are goats.
Yeah, they're actually well. This guy is actually like a little.
He's quite goat.
Yeah, he's a little goat meatball.
Little goat meatball boy.
Yeah, little pork goat meatball. When he gets excited, y'all, he snorts. He snorts like a little piggy.
Yeah, it's adorable.
And he often smells like a meatball. So he's our little pork meatball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever, man. Dark religious parasitism is just this. We just got so fucking hard off subject, my dude. I'm just gonna hard left back onto the road.
That was
what? We just like fucked up some cornfields.
That was
it's
like
fine.
low-key a commercial break, but we weren't peddling anything for anyone.
No, we're not.
Was that person just rolling pizza dough with a booze bottle?
The bottle of Ciroc.
Wow, that was wild. Okay.
I don't.
We have TV on in the background.
I have not had Ciroc in forever.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. We got the last time we had Ciroc was not long after our wedding. We got a bunch of like tiny weird bottles of
and we
booze.
had one in there.
Yeah, and there was one in there. Yeah.
Totally.
Anyway.
Back onto dark religious parasitism.
Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Back onto the harder topic because soda and booze is like way less work to talk about. No, again, like we're not particularly trying
that as a podcast. Jeez.
I know, right? Would have been way less work, guys. No, so like, the reason why I wanted to talk about this, and I kind of wanted to exemplify this. One, this is sort of a thing that I've talked to with several people, and everybody's sort of kind of getting the same, like, yeah, it does feel like something's sort of poisoning the water a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
the thing about
think about this as like the three-eyed fish in the water.
About, like the teachings of Jesus and the teachings in the Bible is that not all of them are good TM.
Well, they're not
right?
infinitely applicable to all things.
They're not infinitely applicable to all things, but they generally want you to espouse a more tolerant,
be good,
accepting,
be neighborly, be kind,
like thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like we are transitioning to a place where some people,
we're seeing an increased number of people
by this parasite
affecting, by the parasite,
are moving the opposite way, but still touting the name.
Yeah.
And it feels to me like what happens really with a parasite or like a tapeworm or a virus, where it is doing its own self-replication thing to try and stay alive. So it's continuing to evolve in new and scarier ways. We just saw this a few years ago.
Yeah.
With the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
You know, we saw the way that the COVID virus mutated to try and get it to pass easier between people. A lot of us learned how viruses evolve and what kind of things they evolve for. A lot of people learn
basic virology, which is sad. What was school doing to most people?
Absolutely not teaching you virology. I don't know what you're thinking about.
I mean, that's fair. But why isn't it? Right?
Well, it probably will now. But like, you know, you can kind of like see this like sort of spiral into this parasitic extremism.
Yeah. Well, and it feels like a very, what I think of as like a very statistically common human sort of like brain structure, right? Like it feels almost like a topographic thing in our minds, whereupon, like, you know, like think of how many times like Alien movie or a robot, like a killer robots movie, is like, everybody's like, I love all these robots, and then like one robot decides to start getting real stab happy, and everybody's just like, we're all now, I know I hated Tom and I know I hated Brenda, but like we're all friends now because fuck robots.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or, you know, fuck ET or whatever. Like you see that like the enemy of my enemy, you know, is my friend sort of a thing. So like we sort of already have a hive mind, like pack animal structure towards wanting to like fit into this. And obviously, like, if somebody is a good speaker or like interesting or like hot enough, because that counts also, or whatever, right? Then like we want to believe them and emulate them, because then like if we do that, then we might also be like hot and popular, right? I mean, this is like literally, this is like marketing 101, by the way, right? Is like you get somebody hot and popular enough to be like, I like this product, and everybody else is going to be like, I also like whatever that was in that commercial. Right?
Yeah.
Because they don't care. Whoever's hot and popular in the moment said so. So I want to believe it. Right? Yeah. This is part of that, like, we like that strive towards normality. And if you have been listening to this podcast for a while, you know how I feel about normals. Don't be normal. Be weird.
Well, it also makes it easier for you to believe the thing that the parasite would want you to believe,
right?
Because
the parasite
easier
fits into this regime.
It's an easy answer. A lot of these things are not an easy answer. You know, fixing the homeless problem, TM, and that's not just something we say as Californians, but just like in general. Yeah. That's not a uniquely Californian problem. Yeah. By the way, I mean, but like it's a much more
taxes.
Yeah.
Fix military spending. Fix any of this. Yeah, like it's so complicated.
Yeah, but like fixing like the thing that you were talking about is like the homeless one. So we stay there, right? And that one is a significantly harder problem to fix, because there's a lot of reasons why people become homeless. Well, there's a lot of reasons why people stay homeless. Yeah. So it's not a one-size-all fix, but hating that group of people is a one-size-all fix. Not to fix homelessness, but because the parasite wants you to believe that eliminating that group of people would fix everything. Yeah. It's the if-only sort of conundrum.
Sure, totally.
You know, we wouldn't have that many homeless if only blah. But the thing is whatever it is that you're not anything, but like pretty much if you are being affected by this parasite, whatever it is that you're going to put in that little like whatever that blank there is going to be not the thing. You know, if you're saying we could fix homelessness if only we, I don't know, police the blue states more, if we got rid of immigrants, those things aren't the answer.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
there isn't only one answer, but those things definitely ain't it.
The thing is that like, if you approach a complex problem, you can't solve it with a simple solution.
Yes.
Right. You need a complex, often more complex than the original problem presents itself as, sort of a solution. But the thing is that you don't want to have that. Okay, a great example of this conversation, it has nothing to do with dark religious parasitism at all, but it directly applies to the basic thing that we're talking about here, which is adjacent to politics, right? Is that we talk less today about policy than we used to, right? We have talking points, we have opinions about hot button issues, but policy conversations are down, right? And hot takes are up in politics. But in politics, the thing that we should care about most is policy, not promise of policy, practical application of policy, right? If you say you're going to do a thing, do a fucking thing, right? And don't lie about it. And if it didn't work out, then we should expect an amount of maturity because, and I cannot stress this enough here, we are all fucking adults, dog, who were alive when you were a politician before right this moment. So we fucking know if you're lying. Lie less. Again, it takes more energy to lie than to tell the truth. Full stop. Right? It just requires you to not be egotistical to tell the truth. So, like, again, it's one of those things where, like, we don't have that complexity. We don't want complex solutions to these problems. We want simple solutions, right?
And we also don't want solutions that are going to cause us to not be the good guy.
Not to get 100% of the shit that we want, right?
Yeah.
And again, this all sort of vaguely circles back to that, like, that dark religious parasitism, whereupon, like, sometimes I have to eat. It's the Aladdin, you know, in the beginning of Aladdin when they're like, he's a thief but with a heart of gold. What do they show him do? Right? He steals a loaf of bread. One trick, blah 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 blah. Right? And then he breaks that loaf of bread in half. Right? And gives some to him, gives some to Apu and some for him. And then those two sad kids show up and he's just like, all right, let's give this bread to these sad kids. And Apu is like, I don't know about this motherfucker. But then he does it anyway, right? So they share a smaller portion of bread so these two kids can have a larger portion of bread.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, that requires sacrifice.
Yeah.
In order to work towards a greater good. And that's part of being a good person, is recognizing when that sacrifice is needed. Does that mean you always need to sacrifice? Abso-fucking-lutely not, my dudes. But sometimes you do.
Yeah.
Right? And it's and the parasite of this concept, right, is one who specifically finds, like, sort of like worms its way into that fine detail work. And sort of blurs it. Like, imagine the only example I can think of is pointillisme, which is French pointillism. It's like to make a big painting, like Le Dimanche à la Grande Jatte, like a lot of tiny dots to make a whole painting. I'm sorry, art history is fascinating. I have so many side quests in my life.
So it's those paintings that are like...
It's like a bunch of little dots.
Yeah.
But then when you're far enough away, it's like a beautiful painting. Right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like, can, when you're far away, you see like a regular beautiful painting, yes, but up close you see all of the tiny detail work that goes into it.
Yeah.
Right. And what dark religious parasitism does to problems, to solutions, to ideas, to consciousness itself, to all of our consciousnesses, when we're affected by this parasite, is it takes those tiny dots of understanding and it sort of like just kind of blurs them all together. And far away, you're still going to see basically the same image, right? Maybe the monkey, you don't see that it's on a leash and you just see a monkey. We're still talking about Le Dimanche on the Cranshot. If you don't know what this painting is look it the fuck up. Is there a monkey
on a leash?
Oh my god, there's like 3 monkeys in this painting.
I thought you were talking
this
about
painting
Aladdin
is so crazy.
Far, and
oh my
god.
Oh my god. I love this painting. It's one of my favorite. I did a whole report on it in French class. I wrote poetry in French about this painting. Full stop. I took 4 years of French in high school. Give me a fucking break.
That's hilarious. Isn't that the painting from Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
I don't know which painting was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Where the guy is like standing there, the friend, Cameron, is standing there, and he's like kind of having an existential crisis and like zooms in and in and in on the painting and the dots get bigger. That's the only reason, first of all, that I know what that style of painting is literally the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Which, by the way, is a fantastic fantastic movie. Let's see. That is yes, it is the painting from Ferris Bueller. Wait, okay, hang on. I gotta see. Are there monkeys in this painting?
Yeah, dog. What are you talking about? Hold on.
It's a dog.
Hold on. She's got a monkey on a leash right there, dog. That's like
front
and center.
Oh my god!
That's straight up a monkey, my dude.
What?
Yeah, that's straight up a fucking monkey.
I'm not done with this.
Yeah. Have you never seen this painting before?
I have definitely seen this painting before, but I feel like maybe I have never actually seen.
Okay. This has nothing to do again with what we're fucking talking about right now. It's simply an example. Whatever. Thank you for coming along for this journey.
She's got a monkey and a tiny dog?
Well, the tiny dog could not be hers, conceptually.
Oh my god, that's an awful picture.
But like, again, it's that idea that like, if you blur it at a distance, it still all looks and sounds right. Right? You're still gonna see that painting at a distance, but when you get up close, you lose that fine texture that gives it so much more character. Right? And like,
okay, I only see one monkey in this painting. I thought
there were like 2 or 3 monkeys in this painting, but it's been a long time since I've done.
No, there's only one monkey in this painting, and I did not know it was there before, and I am absolutely losing my mind.
Also, look at the dump truck on the lady who has that.
That's called a bustle.
I know, it's a dump truck bustle. What do you?
That's true.
Bustle's just old timey dump truck.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Hooty hoo.
Yeah.
We are fucking so remarkably off subject. I love this painting.
That guy's Gandalfing about. He's just got like a big old pipe and he's just piping away. Also, there's like in this painting, there's like a handkerchief
lady fishing
or something like that. And it just looks like 2 sunny side up eggs. And I have never wanted 2 fried eggs more.
Yeah, right?
I mean, I definitely have actually.
It's a beautiful painting.
So,
it's a beautiful painting.
Okay.
But okay, so circling back into subject, okay? I think one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up is because, like, this is something that I've observed and I've talked to in a myriad of forms with several different people from different practices and different religious backgrounds and associations. And what I wonder is, have you noticed something similar to this false deity, this parasite that has consumed part of the thing that you know about or are interested in or have a history with, whereupon, like, you've seen a cultural shift, not in a positive direction, but from my perspective, it always appears to be in a negative direction.
Yeah.
Right? The parasite feeds on specifically the negative twisting of understanding.
Yes.
Right? So, like, have you noticed something like that? And if so, what have you noticed it on? Right? So I super would love to have a conversation about this in the comments. If you're listening to this on the on like a podcast network, you can always go to the YouTube video and hit us up there, or just like DM one of us on like one of the myriad of social medias or whatever. So we can talk about this, because like I feel like it's something that I'm not hearing people talk about enough, right? And we're seeing in a myriad of circumstances where the teachings of a practice, faith, or religion are being twisted and forgotten in order to fit a particularly dark and hateful narrative for what appears to be no reason other than because like 8 people can get more money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that seems significant, but not talked about enough to me. And I've noticed it, and the people that I've talked to have noticed it. So I wonder if you, dear audience out there in the void, also have noticed it. Yeah. Right? And if so, have you interacted with it? How have you interacted with it? All of that sort of thing. But yeah, man, I know this was like a little heavier and a little bit more political than we normally get. That's not really our thing, but at the same time, we do have a rule on this podcast. I'm going to reiterate it again at the end here before as we wrap it up. This is a chill place where everybody's allowed to have their opinions about stuff. If you disagree with me, good. It's better that way. Because one, I don't need everybody to agree with me. That's probably not helpful for my fucking ego and consciousness. As well as, right, then we can have discord. And so long as we talk and we agree or disagree, but amicably and with kindness and with grace towards ourselves and towards others, then we are automatically better people. And like low key, that's the goal, right? Is to be better people.
Yep.
Right? To do a little bit every time, right? The journey of 1,000 steps starts with a single one. So like, let's just do one thing at a time. Let's talk about these things. And if I'm totally wrong and you think that I'm crazy, good. I honestly probably am for what that's worth. But I think I got it on this one. Probably, maybe, whatever. But yeah. Either way. Do you have something else?
No.
Nice. Okay. Either way, I have been John Norgrove. Good. Whatever. But either way, I have been John Norgrove. This has been Julie Norgrove. This has been The Horn
and Cauldron
podcast pub chat edition. But a zesty one with probably more sidetracks than it is late and we are tired. And most of the calories I've consumed today are alcohol. So
that is correct.
So whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This was an interesting one. I would love to hear what you guys think about this. If you are on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video, comment below. What do you think about all the things that we talked about? If you're not subscribed or if you think you're subscribed, double check, ring the bell or whatever the fuck YouTube's doing right now. At this point in time, I have no clue.
Yeah.
And if you're on Podcast Network and you're listening to it, go over to the YouTube channel. You get to look at our faces. They're delicious. You're welcome, bro. And you can comment there, and that's way easier to do because I don't know if there's such a thing as comments on podcasts. I'm gonna be so dead real with you.
I think there's
I
only
listen
reviews,
to most of my podcasts on YouTube.
Completely different.
Oh my god,
and
so
there's
complex.
no rhyme or reason, and also there's no notifications on our end.
Yeah.
So it would be best if you commented on YouTube or on our socials.
Yeah.
Or go to nerdjive.com and shoot us an email.
Yeah, you can shoot us an email on nerdjive.com. Check that out. I just read it on our website. It's fun now. It's real weird, but I like it, and since I'm the one that has to do it, that's what matters arguably the most. And also, if you would like greater access to us through our Discord, because we have a Discord whereupon we can talk about pretty much anything, anywhere, anytime, or access to the Book of Shadows pages for the podcast, for the main podcast episodes, the research episodes, as well as access to short stories and monthly hangouts and all that kind of stuff. You can go hit us up on Patreon. Links are going to be everywhere. We're Nerd Jive on Patreon. We're Nerd Jive everywhere also, by the by. Yeah. I think that's all of the things that I'm supposed to say when I go. Oh, shout out to our patrons. You guys are the best.
Thank you for
Patreon. You're the best.
helping us do what we do and better every time.
That's right. Yeah. And we will see you guys soon because we have a hangout coming up. So
that's right.
If you're watching this on time and I get it out on time.
Or not. Yeah. In which case...
Whatever, shut up.
It's still happening soon, because it happens every month.
That's fair. It's always 1 month soon.
Yeah, winter is always coming.
Winter is always coming, my dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Selfish lover, that son of a bitch. But yeah, whatever. We'll catch you guys next time. Stay magical, folks.
Yeah, and don't forget, Breathe in self-confidence and breathe out self-doubt.